the wanderer of the Outback. Her name was Sophia. She had been unemployed for months, searching desperately for something different, something that could give her life a spark. One afternoon, while sipping coffee with a friend, he suggested a challenge. A long trek across the Australian outback, a journey that promised adventure and a test of courage. At first, Sophia hesitated, unsure if she could endure such isolation, but the idea sparked something within her, a thirst for the unknown. And so, she packed her minimal belongings, her heart both anxious and excited, ready to step into a world she had only imagined. She had walked for days beneath the burning sun of Australia, her shadow the only companion stretching endlessly across the cracked red earth. The horizon stretched wide and merciless, a place where silence pressed against the ears until the world felt hollow. The road was nothing but dust and stone, a ribbon of heat shimmering in the distance. Every step reminded her of her solitude, the emptiness of the desert swallowing all trace of her existence. By day, she endured the cruel brightness. By night, she prayed for rest, though the darkness held its own terrors. One evening, she found a small cabin, broken and leaning, its wood gray with age, windows shattered like dead eyes staring. Inside, the air was stale, heavy with forgotten dust, the walls whispering of lives that had long since vanished. She lit a small lantern and tried to calm her shaking hands, yet the silence inside the cabin was heavier than the desert outside. When darkness fell completely, she heard it. A low growl, deep and guttural, sliding beneath the door. Her heart froze as the walls shuddered, the wood rattling as though something clawed at it from outside. She pressed herself into a corner, clutching her bag. Her breath sharp and shallow, tears spilling as fear consumed her. The growl grew louder, joined by shuffling steps, and the door quivered as if unseen hands tested its strength. She sobbed uncontrollably, unable to hide her terror, until suddenly, laughter broke through the noise. Two figures pushed the door open with a bang, faces twisted with amusement at their cruel joke. Two travelers, grinning with wild delight, mocked her fear as though it were entertainment. Her relief was poisoned by rage, but deeper still was the dread that refused to fade. For when they left her alone once more, the night had only just begun its haunting. The next sound was not laughter, but a whisper, a voice curling against her ear, though no one stood near. She could not understand the words, yet the tone was clear, a chant that slipped into her bones like ice into marrow. Her tears dried, replaced by trembling silence as the lantern flickered, shadows stretching long across the walls. She closed her eyes, but the voice remained, murmuring her name, drawing it out like a curse. Outside, the desert shifted in ways it should not. Shapes swaying at the edge of her vision, too tall and too thin. They bent and twisted with the wind, yet not like branches, their movements deliberate, as if they watched her from afar. At dawn, she fled the cabin, shaken and broken, yet the desert no longer felt empty. It breathed around her steps. The crows circled overhead, black wings cutting the sky, their cries sharp enough to pierce bone. Each day carried new terrors, a shadow trailing her under the noonday sun, footsteps echoing though she walked alone. At night her sleep fractured into nightmares, dreams where skeletal hands clawed at her skin and faceless shapes whispered her secrets. When she woke, the voices followed her into daylight, clinging to the air, lingering in the silence between her breaths. Days later she found another ruin, stone half buried in sand, walls scrawled with strange markings that seemed to pulse in the moonlight. She rested inside, though unease gnawed at her, her body desperate for sleep, her mind fractured by fear. That night she dreamed of fire across the desert, flames that rose higher than mountains, faces screaming in the smoke, yet never burning away. She woke screaming, drenched in sweat, but the fire had not left her. It burned in the air, faint and real. The horizon glowed, though no sun had risen. and in the distance, shadows moved against the false light. She ran, stumbling through stone and dust, but the shapes followed, always at the edge of sight. No matter how far she traveled, the feeling remained, that she was not walking forward, but deeper into a trap. Her body weakened, yet her fear gave her strength, each step powered by the primal urge to survive. She stumbled upon a dried creek, its bed cracked and empty, yet whispers rose from it like smoke from buried fire. A figure stood there for a fleeting moment, its form shifting like a mirage, its eyes hollow pools of darkness. She dared not look back, fearing what might follow, yet the desert seemed alive, pulsating and breathing around her. Night after night, the terror intensified. The wind carried voices from unseen lips, and the stars above shone like cold, judgmental eyes. She tried to reason with herself, telling stories of her mind playing tricks, but reality had already fractured, and the desert knew it. She discovered footprints that were not her own, leading nowhere, disappearing into the endless red plains. Every shelter she found seemed haunted. Doors that creaked though untouched, walls that whispered her name in the dead of night. She no longer distinguished dreams from waking. Each shadow could conceal the dead. Each sound could harbor the unseen. Days turned into nights without count. Each step a battle against the fear that threatened to consume her. The desert itself seemed to mock her endurance, its heat by day, its chill by night, its emptiness broken only by horrors too fleeting to describe. She saw distant lights that vanished when approached, heard laughter that belonged to no human, felt hands graze her shoulder though no one was near. Finally, deep in the Outback's heart, under the endless stars, she realized she was never alone. They were always there, behind her, within her shadow, watching, waiting, claiming a piece of her soul with every step. Her first terror, the prank of two travelers, had been nothing compared to what followed, relentless and eternal. And in the silent desert, she learned the truth. Some paths are walked only once, and some wanderers never truly return.